Welty-ho, folks, it's time to suit up again for another episode of the Soul Sessions. With me today, he is the heroic underdog of Scottish professional wrestling, Martin MacAlistair. Welcome to the show, pal.
Hiya, thanks for having me on. It's a real pleasure.
Oh, absolute pleasure, pal. But you know what I do like to do with every guest has a story, and every story has a beginning. So, Martin, how did you fall in love with professional wrestling?
Yeah, it's one of those ones. It's a funny one because I don't know. It's just always been a part of my life. One of my earliest, genuinely like one of my earliest memories is walking to school with my big brother, and we're arguing about Stone Cold and The Rock, and we're arguing about who's better. And I don't remember watching wrestling at that time, but I must have had this enough knowledge to have an opinion on it that I was so adamant that The Rock was better. And it's like genuinely one of my earliest memories. So I loved it all the way through school. Fell away for a wee bit, sort of as I got a bit older, but then came back around the CM Punk 431 days title reign, and so that's kind of when I came back into wrestling, and it's just never left after that. It's been a part of my life ever since.
Wow, fair play, my friend. You know, I feel like a lot of people connect with Punk and his 434-day reign, always with the pipe bomb as well. What was it about Punk that really kind of drew you to him?
I think it was that it felt like when it had become quite mature again, wrestling, in terms of like the story of Punk is he's like you're watching this guy who starts off quite happy to have the belt, and then he gets more and more obsessive and greedy, and he's the pipe bomb was obviously the start of it, but as he goes on, the whole thing with Paul Heyman later, and he's just gotten more and more grotty. I just thought that was just so fascinating about him. And obviously once The Rock turns up, and he's just, once upon a time, maybe Punk would have liked The Rock, but by that point, he's just like, no, you're the worst thing that ever happened to wrestling. It's just brilliant.
Truly great storytelling. Obviously, Punk would come back. You know, I can't imagine, obviously, being a fan back then to seeing him come back. It must have been a very happy moment for you, correct?
Unbelievable. He's one of a few people, I think, in the last couple of years that have come back that you just never thought you'd see again. Edge being another one. Off the top of my head, it's like these people are just, it's unbelievable moments to see them come back. And yeah, Punk was one that I think everyone just assumed he would never, ever come back to wrestling. So yeah, just truly unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, he had his match with Kojima last night for Forbidden Door. Hell of a match in the Owen Hart tournament. Maybe he might be matching up with Samoa Joe if things go accordingly. I mean, that's going to be very hype because obviously the Ring of Honor trilogy. Are you a fan of that?
Yeah, that Ring of Honor run, that Punk's like previous to WWE, it's just some amazing stuff. I missed it all at the time, so like catching up now, and I've watching that year of Ring of Honors, it's truly special. You can see why so many of those talented wrestlers from there just go everywhere afterwards.
It really seems like Ring of Honor, even with its history now, its history back then is so integral. It's like a spider web of ever growing connections within the world of professional wrestling. Do you feel like Ring of Honor's impact in the wrestling business maybe a bit undermined?
Yeah, I think so. And I think you see every like AEW, but WWE especially, the wrestling changes as Ring of Honor, as those guys get out of the gap, and you obviously see Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, that style that they wrestle you'd never see that in WWE, Attitude Era and sort of Ruthless Aggression time. And yeah, it's not really until those stars make it out of Ring of Honor, they travel to other companies, you start to see suddenly everyone's wrestling these like unbelievable matches that, when I was younger, you never would have seen anything like that. Like the stuff that they're doing, you mentioned Forbidden Door. I've not seen it all yet, so I won't comment too much, but some of the stuff I have seen so far, it's like, that's just mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing.
Absolutely a treat. I mean, something as well, you mentioned, wrestling styles have changed from being a kid and watching, obviously, with Stone Cold and The Rock to now with people like Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay. How has it been noticing in the style of wrestling change throughout the years?
It's a funny one because wrestling itself's become a lot different. I always make a joke about Rock and Austin at WrestleMania 17 compared to like matches nowadays, but it's like they do like I think 4 moves between them in the whole match. It's just a lot of kick punching, but those personalities are so huge. While we get matches now where there's a lot of moves but not a lot of personality, but then you get the guys like Omega and Ospreay, where it's like they found that balance again, where it's like, oh, these guys do unbelievable things, but people really, really care about them as well, and that's like, I think that's like that perfect wrestling balance.
No, of course, always got to have a balance. And I wanted to you give me your opinion, Martin. Some people said that the current state of wrestling, it should go back to how it was before. And, change is never good. But, sometimes things have to change. We all have to evolve as people and as businesses. I want you to give me a positive and negative on the current kind of style of professional wrestling.
I'll start with the negative and then turn it into the positive, I think. I think the negative is you do get wrestling where it is just, let's just do a whole bunch of things and everyone goes out and does some crazy things. And I look at myself just, I'm 30 years old and I want to be wrestling as long as I can. I don't want to be like hurt, so soon. You see wrestlers that are doing just things that are just unbelievable on a weekly basis like that. Look after your knees, lads. But on the positive side, I think, like I was saying, I think they're bridging that gap again of like trying to figure out how do you make these big matches work on these big stages and keep people caring about the characters. Like, why should we care about who the Young Bucks are, who Kenny Omega is, compared to, just want to use an example because he's someone that everyone has an opinion on, Logan Paul. He's one of the he's great because everyone has an opinion on Logan Paul, and it also helps that he's actually pretty good at wrestling. So like he's like doing like these guys are trying to bridging this gap in different ways. So yeah, I think that's like the big positives. The more people can bridge that gap, the better, I think.
Yeah, of course, Logan Paul is a very intriguing character in himself, loved and hated. I just can't wait to see what the UK fans chant at him at Money in the Bank.
Oh, it's going to be
scripture. I like to say it's going to be scripture. It's going to be stuff that's passed down to the weans in the future. Like, remember back in my day when we created art conveyed to Mr. Paul. It was beautiful back in the day. But on yourself, Martin, obviously you would go from always being a fan, but training as well. I want to know, what was it that really pushed you over to be like, yeah, let's get in the ring?
Similar to how I fell in love with wrestling, I don't really remember. I wasn't in a great place. So I started wrestling in 2018 and I was 115 kilograms, which is 18, 19 stone. And I hadn't worked out in years. I was really not in a great place. It was me 25. I think people are calling it like a quarter life crisis nowadays, but it was, I'd finished all the structure that was school, university, and what do you do next for your life? Is this it? Is this, working? Is that it? And I randomly found out about the Glasgow Pro Wrestling Asylum, and I'd only really just started watching Scottish independent wrestling, and all of a sudden I was like, these guys are amazing. I'd only just picked up WWE a couple of years before that, so yeah, one night I just clicked a few buttons on a web page, and I was like, yeah, I'll sign up. They've got an intake starting in a few months. This will be great. I'll get in shape and I'll be amazing. And didn't do any of that. But the date rolled around and I turned up anyway. And I always remember the first sessions because there was a real mix of people. Like all sort of wrestling fans, it was a real mix of people sort of like me that had never really done any physical exercise in years. And there's guys in there that like martial artists, and there's one guy that was a stunt man, and it's like, oh man, I'm so out of depth here. And yeah, I couldn't get I was so large at the time that I really struggled to like tie my shoelaces on my boots, like actually lean over to tie them. I had to like sit on the floor and do that. And it wasn't really until like, I think about the third or fourth week, and that one of the coaches at the asylum sort of pulled me aside and he said, do you want to be here? Like you kind of you look like you don't want to be here. You're wasting your time, you're wasting your money. It was a wee bit mean, but also like you sometimes need that bit of tough love. And it basically kind of went, you kind of have to make a choice. So do you want to come back? And that's exactly what I needed. And something flipped the switch, and ever since then, wrestling's been my whole life. It's been exactly what I wanted to do, and it's been something I train for every day of my life now.
Oh, you've done very well for yourself, pal. Honestly, pat on the back yourself. And obviously, I've seen some of your training videos as well. One place you would go to that we've had many guests on is FPWA. Fight Pro Wrestling Asylum. What was it about FPWA that really attracted to you going there?
And there's a couple of things. So the first time I went with them was during lockdown, and they were one of the first to offer the sort of one-to-ones, and Andy Roberts ran this FPWA Asylum, and it was unbelievable. Like I don't want to sound like I'm being mean to any other ones, too silly, but unbelievably clean and like just a pristine environment. And I know that sounds a bit thingy, but obviously you got to remember the environment of 2020, what everyone was afraid of, and he's set out, he's got all these boundaries, and he's extremely professional. And he was the first to be like, "This is what the rules are. This is how we'll do it. These are how this is going to work." And obviously, he himself was an incredible wrestling, a great mind as well. So yeah, that was like a massive jump up for me, was getting to attend some of his classes. And then at the same time, he was also offering online seminars, which a lot of the schools didn't at the time. And he was able to use his contacts and reach out and get some really incredible guests out to help his students. And, it was open to anyone, so I was able to join for them as well. And yeah, just he really went out of his way during that time to provide something I don't think anyone else was doing, and really to provide. It was originally just his students, and he opened it to everyone, like all students around. I mean, I think the world eventually joined in with that. It was he truly did something really special, I think, just to really help people at that time. And you have to reward that with praise, I guess. But yeah, it's brilliant.
Of course, absolutely. And they've had some great seminars there. Obviously, Wild Boar was one as well, and I've seen a couple of others. What was one that you really stick to, like one seminar that really, hold on that information you gained?
One of the ones, there was an online video one with Doug Williams, and he just went so in depth into just like, this is why this happens, and this is what the history of wrestling is like, this is why I do this. And he just really broke down the aspects of like, who is he, and sort of challenged us all to be like, okay, so why am I doing this? Or, when a wrestler does this, why do I do this? And it just really break down that whole, what I think as a fan, you don't understand, you don't see, but you notice, that kind of thing when people talk about a lot in films, where it's like, the script's funny in the film, and the same with wrestling. It's like, it's something you might go like, why would a wrestler do that? And then he was just really challenging you. Why would a wrestler do that? So it was a fascinating one. I learned a lot. So I've got the notes somewhere under one of these bits of my desk. I've got like handwritten notes from all these seminars, and yeah, that's one that I go back to sometimes.
Oh, hey, you always got to keep the learning notes. But obviously, wrestling was kind of your second, your second dream, because first was being, Lego Builder of the Month in the UK Lego magazine. That's a hell of an accomplishment, my friend. Hey, CM Punk ain't got that on his resume, I'll tell you what.
That's a great dig from you. From a great find. yeah. Absolutely love Lego. Yeah, it was Lego Builder of the Month in the Lego magazine. Legos. That was like my first love, and I don't think there's many wrestlers that can stake a claim to it. It was on my CV for a while, but I've taken it off now. I think as I got a bit older, I was like, maybe I should take that off. But
Martin, come on! Not even politicians have got that on their CV, man. You got to keep that on there.
I hope that's going to be the tagline for the show. It's just Lego Builder of the Month, Martin MacAlistair.
Hey, if it works with the algorithm, I'll fucking take it. You know what? Let's settle the debate right now. I think I know what the best Lego sets are. I want to see if the master agrees with me. It would be Bionicle, correct?
Yes,
Bionicle?
yeah. It's hard to disagree with the Bionicle stuff.
Thank you very much. I mean, those movies as well. I remember as a kid, The Mask of Light, The Return of Nathan movie. Ooh, wow. Beautiful, beautiful Lego. I mean, obviously the whole product now has changed. Is there a particular set you're excited for coming up?
Maybe not coming up, but there's one I just got recently, and it was the Horizon Zero Dawn tall neck one, and that's a game franchise that's just really visually stuck with me. I just love that mix of like fantasy and sci-fi, but like quite grounded on Earth. And that Lego set, I've not one built. It's just I love it so much. It's just such a satisfying thing to look at.
That's a very pristine set there. But you know what's one final thing on Lego? I know Lego have their Lego ideas where fans can create their own and eventually get made into sets. But Martin, if you had to make a wrestling Lego set, how would you make it? How would you make it perfect that it gets the ideas and Lego make it into a real set?
One that I'd have to say that there was a line of toys when I was younger, and it was the WWF had a line, and they had like a little chip in their shoe. And as it went through the entranceway, the music would start playing. And like I feel like Lego now, they've got like all the stuff for the Mario things that they could, where they've got like different sound effects. There's got to be like a thing for wrestling wrestling Lego figures where they hit each other and they make sound effects and music can play when they hit certain points and commentary. Like that would be like the interactive dream for that.
Oh yeah, the mind's going. The mind's going.
Yeah,
Just flowing. We're making actual products here. But hey, never say never in the world of Lego, but also in the world of professional wrestling. Because I know you would make your debut on the WWE Network in a way through ICW.
Yeah, that's kind of like bizarre. I think there's maybe a host. I think 2 other people, both from Scottish wrestling. Like basically, the debut, unless you're a celebrity like Bad Bunny or someone, your debut isn't going to be in the WWE Network. So yeah, to get that opportunity to wrestle on ICW in my debut match and to wrestle on the WWE Network in my debut match is 1 in a million. It doesn't happen to many people at all, and something I'm just really, truly grateful for. The story kind of behind that was, again, it was during lockdown, and it just so happened that I was available and kind of close by. So I kind of like to joke about it because one of the first bits of physical contact I had with somebody outside of my immediate family was being punched in the face by DCT. So welcome back to reality.
Oh my, hell of a snack for that, friend. Well, obviously, on the W Network, there was, obviously ICW is sadly no longer on the network. They're on Fight now. But back then, many other superstars were on there. One you've met, Dolph Ziggler. What was it like kind of, is Ziggler a big fan of yours or were you a big fan of his?
He actually is a bit of a fan of mine. He's actually went and liked a few of my tweets before. So, yeah, no, it was great meeting him. We also, as me and my brother, went to New York for, must have been SummerSlam that year. And we met him. And we also went to they did one of the Dolph Ziggler and Friends comedy nights that night as well. So we met him on that would have been the Saturday and the show was on the Sunday. He's a great guy. He's so funny. I know obviously a stand-up comedian, you expect it, but sometimes, stand-up comedians aren't that funny when you meet them, but he was brilliant. Great laugh. And yeah, it was a buzz. It was just before I started wrestling, just after I started wrestling, sorry. So yeah, it was just a real buzz to be like, oh, I'm doing this now. This is me.
Well, truly special, pal. And obviously you've got great entrance gear as well. Kind of Deku from My Hero Academia. Such a nice inspiration. What was it that made you kind of go for that Deku look?
I just loved My Hero Academia, the show, and I was trying to pick out what people weren't doing so much, and the tights and vests look, nobody's really doing it at the moment. And obviously the main 2 influences for it. I sent the pictures to the person that helped me design it, and I sent them Deku from My Hero Academia and Seth Rollins that one time that he wore all white. I can't remember what show that is, but everyone goes on about it. And I was like, these are the 2 pictures I sent. I was like, somewhere in between this is what I want, and that's what he came up with. And yeah, I wanted to really kind of catch the same thing that Deku has, which is that underdog hero. Because I'm not the biggest guy out there, but maybe one of the biggest hearts. Who knows?
Well, very much. I mean, I honestly know, where's the hood? Deku has the awesome ragged hood. Come on, bring the hood, man.
I know. I need to get like a whole jacket so I can get the gloves and everything.
Absolutely. I mean, who knows? Obviously, your current record is 0-42. Obviously, I mean that's a hell. I mean, hey, it's a compliment. I ain't got that. I'm not non-hackable at this point. I can't even get a record. But obviously, someone else that I think when I hear that kind of record is Brian Myers, the former Kurt Hawkins. What was it about this losing streak that some may say that's a negative, but I feel you see it as quite a positive. Like, yeah, I'm not got it now, but I can get it eventually.
Yeah, I think when I first wrestled for ICW, I kept losing, obviously, and I noticed I was like, people were starting to get kind of funny about it. They would message like, "Oh, you lost again, you lost again." It's like, that's quite funny that people are noticing already. And this was like before I got to 10 losses. I wasn't even tracking it at that point. It's just like, oh, people are already it's like this Martin guy, whenever he's on screen, he's going to lose kind of thing. I was like, I need to keep track of this. And it ever since it kind of got away from me. Obviously, it's now, yeah, like you say, 0 wins, 42 losses. Not the best record ever. Not quite Kurt Hawkins. I think he got to 150 odd before he won.
Something extreme, man.
Something extreme. But yeah, I think it's I think people really care because it's something they can keep track and keep, they can relate to. And yeah, I see it as a positive because, one day I'm going to win. And I think people want me to win now. And everyone's supporting me. They've been supporting me for so long on it. I can't wait to pay off that support.
Of course, absolutely. I mean, hey, as long as the roll-up's in your repertoire of moves, because the roll-up, that's how you win.
I've tried, but not yet.
We need to go to the planning board. I need like a full chart here of moves, mind map, and everything. Roll up, backslide. I don't know, headlock takeover. We got to get this sorted out and get you the right move for that win, pal. Obviously we never know when your next win could be, or or another loss. But what would like be if you had to imagine it, your first win? What would it be like?
It'd have to be at Iron Girders gym. That's kind of my training school now. But it's also, I would consider like my home turf. That's like my home ground. Just the fans there are incredible. And like I said, that's the fan support's been boiling up for me on this, and they really push me to keep going, especially the people at Iron Girders gym. And I'd obviously like to win in front of all my friends as well. So the dream, I guess, would be Iron Girders gym, friends and family, and all the wrestlers there, because it's a real community at Iron Girders gym, and the fans really are really special, the ones that go to those shows.
Of course,
so it has to be in front of them.
Yeah, Iron Girders is so special. I know they had a very special show on this Saturday as well in remembrance of a Stephen Brown. For the viewers who are not too familiar with why this show is so special, will you be able to enlighten us?
Sure. Stuart passed away earlier this year, and we wanted to thank Ayrshire Hospice for all the hard work with him. So we were able to raise money for Ayrshire Hospice, which was incredible. I think the current total, as it's still going up, the current total is over £1,300 that we managed to raise for them. But as I said, the total's going up, and I think even just thank you for bringing it up, because even just mentioning them, bringing up that awareness for Ayrshire Hospice has been good for them as well. I think there's people donating and mentioning Iron Girders, separate to us, like through like Just Giving or whatever, through the direct website. But the show itself is one of my favorite shows we've ever done. Just a really good atmosphere, and the wrestlers all came out and we wrestled our hearts out, and it was a great atmosphere, great show, and yeah, we raised a lot of money doing it, so chuffed to bits.
No, it's great to hear. If there's any way I can help, I'm happy to put a wee link in the description to Ayrshire Hospice, and hopefully the viewers that see this, they can give some. It's great to see them do great things for great people.
That'd be excellent. Thanks so much.
Oh, no worries, pal. Now, obviously, the UK wrestling scene is going to have a big boom, like in a week and in August. Money in the Bank and All In. I want to know what your excitement is for this show, and is there one you prefer over the other?
Well, I do have tickets to Money in the Bank, so I'll start there.
Okay. I was gonna, but no, Drew, you lose me.
No, me and my brother, we've spent a lot of time and money over the years going to wrestling shows together, and obviously as soon as these ones start coming to the UK, obviously Clash at the Castle last year, but as soon as they announced Money in the Bank, and especially because Money in the Bank is one of the big WWE events now, I see it as kind of like, it's almost like it's replaced Survivor Series as one of the big four now for me. So yeah, get a chance to see that's going to be unbelievable. Cody Rhodes is one of my favorite wrestlers right now, so I'm going to be screaming my heart out when he's fighting Dominic. So yeah, I'm very biased towards Money in the Bank, but Wembley is an incredible venue for AEW to be running. Obviously that card's not really taking much shape yet, but obviously as they start announcing matches, I think that's going to be an unbelievable time as well. Wembley's it's an incredible venue, like for any event that I've been to. I've been there for the NFL a couple of times, and the venue, I can't even imagine what wrestling's going to look like. And it's like, you can go back and watch the old footage, but the revamped Wembley is something else. And it's going to be unbelievable.
Oh, it's a bit different back then, however many years ago it was now. But obviously, AEW, CM Punk, hopefully he's going to be there. If you had to see Punk in a match, Martin, what kind of match would you want to see Punk in?
Oh, gotta get a belt on him. I think there's he had the belt in AEW. I think him and MJF had a good thing, and I'd like to see them getting back to that. And CM Punk was the MJF at Wembley.
Well, third time the charm for CM Punk as AEW World Champion. Who knows? But obviously, going a wee bit back, Money in the Bank. I know who I want to win the briefcase, and that's a little LA Knight. Yeah, but are you wanting Logan Paul? Are you wanting Logan Paul?
There was a point where I was like, it would be funny if Logan Paul won it, but the second that LA Knight came out on the show the other week and cut that promo, it was like a minute long, and he just ripped Logan Paul, and the crowd was so behind him so quickly that it's like, this guy he's truly special on the microphone, and his matches are great as well, as I was saying before, but bridging that gap between being a great wrestler and being great at talking and getting people invested in you. But he's managed to turn, it feels like all the momentum's in his favor just now, LA Knight. Every match he's doing, every time he's got a microphone, the crowd's losing their mind. So I'd love to see him win it at this point. I think the crowd's going to be so behind him as well.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when he insulted Logan Paul over Prime, I must say, I'm getting tearful now thinking about it. I got to dab me down there. My God, beautiful. But, Mark, I very much appreciate you coming on the Soul Sessions and sharing your stories and everything. But if fans have loved what they've heard of you, and where are you going to be next? Where can they see you in person?
I'll probably be back on Iron Girders. They're running a show in July. I don't have the exact date in front of me, unfortunately, but the best place to find out about that would be either on the Iron Girders social medias, or you can follow me on Instagram, Mark MacAlistair. I usually have a link tree in my bio, and I'll try to keep that updated with events. The other places would be Community Pro Wrestling. I wrestle with them in August as well. So they're the next two big ones, I think. But keep an eye out, because I never know what I'm going to pop up next, because wrestling's wild and who knows what's going to happen.
Absolutely, of course. And viewers, don't worry, I'll make it a lot more simpler for you, because Martin's Instagram description will be in the link of this video. So give it a click and follow him, because when he gets that win, that's not a moment you want to miss. And you're going to share, add it, make it into a reel, be real. I don't know if that's what the youth do this nowadays, but yeah, you got to do it. And of course, remember as well, I'll have a wee link for Ayrshire Hospice. Celebrate a good thing. They're doing good things for good people. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in for another episode of the Soul Session. He has been Martin MacAlistair, the heroic underdog of Scottish professional wrestling. I have been Soul. Thank you. I'm never to stay tuned for more Soul Sessions.